Hey, Pastor Ray Barnett here with you. Glad that you could be with me here on the Oasis. And as always, I wish you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this broadcast. It really is a beautiful day here once again in upstate New York. And God, as always, is good. Today is November the 8th, 2022, and it's election day, and obviously the results aren't in. They won't be in for maybe for years. Well, what a mess. I don't know if you can see this here too well. I don't know. It says Jesus is my boss. It was a hat that was given to me a few years back, and I thought that this was an appropriate piece of clothing, cap, to express my sentiments. If you want to know who I voted for, I'll tell you. I'm not ashamed. I voted for God. Well, all right, maybe it wasn't precisely that, but that's who's got my vote. I'll tell you, America needs Jesus. America needs Jesus. You see the camera is shifting a little bit. There's a bit of a breeze coming off this. It's the Mohawk River behind me. It's now much lower than it has been because the locks are opened up, so the water level is much lower. In fact, if I get a breeze coming the other way and you see me disappear, I'll be about 20 feet below where I am right now, and in deep trouble. Yeah, today is election day, and people are already fighting. Election machines broken down in Arizona just like 2 years ago. Wow, what a coincidence. You know, on a channel like this one where I deal with nervous symptoms, mental health issues, I try to connect you to your outer environment, meaning this world, which would include, of course, your family and your place of employment or wherever else you go, because it affects your thinking, your feelings, emotions, your nervous system. And though I speak in jest about voting for God, of course I couldn't vote for God. I mean, not in a voting booth. But he's got my vote for what we need in this world. We certainly do. In any case, I have mentioned to you on this channel that the days ahead, in my view, and I would love to be proven wrong, but the days ahead here in America, as well as the world, are going to be difficult. And for those of you, for example, suffering from anxiety or depression, you say, well, this is not what we want to hear. But if you don't know the truth, or you don't prepare for the truth, then your symptoms are likely to get worse. I mentioned on yesterday's broadcast that alcoholism is up like 30%. People who ordinarily haven't had nervous symptoms or issues are having them because of the environment we live in, because of the world we live in. So it has great relevance, maybe not precisely election day, but it has great relevance to you. I mean, the world we live in has great relevance to you, because this is part of the problem that you face. Yesterday, I was sharing with you about, a simple concept, loving your neighbor, and how that will help you with nervous symptoms. And I gave you all the reasons why, so you could just go back one broadcast and look at that one, loving your neighbor. But because of I thank God for the political system that we have. It's corrupted and it's broken, but it's still better than a lot of alternatives around the world. And well, let me stick with the election. So you get involved if you're politically minded and you like political news and you read a lot of reports and newspapers. It's likely to stimulate you. Well, I was going to say it's likely to stimulate you in an unhealthy way, but that may depend on who your candidate was. Your candidate wins, then maybe you're not stimulated all that badly. But for most of us, it's just a tug of war, constant tug of war. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I'm just guessing, but I can tell you how I feel. It's so frustrating to listen to politicians in particular who keep saying things, and the media who doesn't help matters out. I mean, let's face it, they make their living off of the old adage, if it bleeds, it leads. The more sensational the news is, good or bad, but it's mostly not all that good, then it's making headlines. And if you're an intelligent individual and you are inquisitive and you want to know what's going on around you, and you should, this is likely to, well, let me say it this way, it's likely to not be helpful to your anxiety and your depression. So here's the thing. How do you separate? Well, let me say this here. We've always heard the advice that you can't talk about two things, religion and politics, which is not true. It just sounds good. Don't bring it up. Nobody's arguing, but we're well beyond that point, that's for sure. But what I was going to say is, how do you divorce yourself from political ambitions? I mean, who we want to see in our office, whoever we voted for. I voted for the candidates in this area here for state senate, for governor, and I'm not going to allow myself to become overly distraught if the candidates I voted for don't win, and I'll tell you why. Because Jesus is my boss. See, I'm actually a person who really believes the Bible. I mean, I just don't use it as some kind of a ornament, intellectual ornament. I mean, I actually believe it. I don't believe we're going to have peace until the return of the Prince of Peace, which is, of course, Christ, Jesus. So the question is, how do you divorce your politics? I'll stick with that because today's election day. How do you divorce your politics from your emotions? I don't think it's entirely possible, really, to divorce your emotions from your politics. However, you must maintain control over your emotions, that they don't get out of control. So let me give you a scenario. You vote whatever state you're in, and your candidate loses. So you're either stuck with the same old business if the incumbent stays in power, or let's say your favorite candidate who's in power now loses and you got a new one that's not so good. I don't think it's possible to divorce yourself. I don't even think it's healthy, entirely healthy. Well, maybe that's not the right word. It's not entirely, we're human. It's just not, we're not able to completely divorce ourselves emotionally from life. So, as you hear so much on this channel, we have to be able to control our emotions, that we're not led by them. In other words, you don't want to be led by your symptoms, and I'll throw in emotions as well, or reversing it. You don't want to be led by your emotions, because that's going to lead you into more symptomatic, I'll say behavior, and you're going to get upset. We can't divorce ourselves completely from our opinions, no matter what they may be. And it's not desirable. That's the word I was looking for. It's not exactly desirable to advise people to divorce yourself from life. How can you do that? But you have to control it. And that's really what I try to bring across to you on these daily broadcasts. To think. And I have shared with you that the most important thing in your life is your health. You say, really? I thought there was other things. Well, think about it. You love your family, or maybe even you love your job, and you can throw in a bunch of other things too. But if you don't have your health, then you can't be there for your family. You can't go to your job and just keep, naming things and thinking of things that are important to you if you don't have your health. So health has, and here we deal mainly with mental health. Your mental health has got to be the number one priority. So again, this being election day, you can't let politicians and the media run your life. In many ways of putting it across, they are running our lives. But then again, in Christ, we are independent of circumstances. That's what it means to be born again, by the way. We're now living in the kingdom inside, not outside, obviously. Inside, we're living in the kingdom, and we're living for the kingdom that's yet to come. Right? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. And it's coming. One of the beautiful things, well, there's many beautiful things about God because he's God. But one of the greatest things is that God has never been elected. God doesn't really ask people for their opinions. Jesus coming is not up to a vote, a referendum, a proposal. He's simply coming. So what I'm saying to you today is to put your hope. The old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's good for your financial portfolio or your retirement portfolio. But it's not good for you to put your eggs into politics, or put all your eggs into politics, and all your eggs into really any one thing. You've got to keep your eyes on Christ. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, right, God, because she trusteth in thee. Trust ye in the Lord Jehovah, for in the Lord, listen, is everlasting strength. That's the source of our peace, not the election. I'm hoping my candidates win, don't get me wrong. If they don't, I'm not losing my peace. And here's the thing that I want to share with you too. Even if my candidates win, it does not mean that now all my hopes are in what flesh and blood can do. People are limited. Some are honest and some are dishonest. There's no real peace in human beings. That peace comes from Christ. So just a short exhortation today, again, since it's election day when I'm doing this broadcast, you may be watching it weeks or months later. You can't put all your eggs into politics, and you can't put all your eggs into anything else except God. And I just quoted from Isaiah 26, 3 and 4, verses 3 and 4. And then you're independent of the circumstances. Your candidates win, hey, that's good. That kind of makes your day. But don't believe that they're going to usher in world peace. God has emphatically stated throughout the Bible, Old and New Testaments, that will never be the case. No matter. Never be the case. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man comes to the Father but by me. So just a short word today as this wind starts to kick up again. Just a short word to encourage you to not be discouraged by whatever falls out in the days ahead. I'm convinced it's going to get rough. It's rough now. I just think it's going to get worse temporarily. But remember, Jesus is coming. Put all your eggs in that basket and you'll have peace. Let me pray for you. Father, as we pray for our country and we pray that you would awaken this country to righteousness, help us to trust you. Help my friends to trust you. And give them peace in you. and not to be too overly emotionally involved in anything other than you. You are our peace. And we thank you for that. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right, as I have told you, the weather, there's not one cloud in the sky today. There was not one cloud in the sky yesterday. A little bit more brisk, but hey, it is, after all, upstate New York. Winter's gonna come eventually. But the weather's gonna hold up, so I should be able to stay with you outside until we reach whether the weather gets too cold, and I'll be back inside doing these broadcasts for you. You happened upon this channel, maybe it's not an accident. You want to be part of our small group here, subscribe, hit the notification button, and don't forget, all of you who are subscribed, to share these messages, these teachings with others that need them, especially in this hour. Things are going to get worse. That means more people are going to have mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and so on. So share them. And as I remind you every single day, no matter what, make sure the peace of God rules in your heart. God willing, I'll be with you here again tomorrow on the Oasis. Until then, God bless.